All right, Ronan MMA, welcome back to the channel. Now, I have poked fun at this particular YouTuber before in the past, but he did something that I think deserves a bit of praise. Okay, because I've been waiting and hoping that somebody would do something like this or along these lines, or critique him in a way that I feel like he should be critiqued in. And I'm talking about Jesse on Fire. Now, Jesse on Fire in multiple ways annoys me, but I don't like hate the guy or anything. He's said some questionable stuff in the past. Um, but the guy that he went after, when I first started watching content on YouTube that was like specific towards MMA, I started watching Luke Thomas. Okay, and it took a while before I heard him say something that was overtly or even like covertly political. But I remember when he did, I went, "Wait, what the fuck? Really? Did you just say that?" And when I first started making videos, which is quite a while after I stopped watching Luke Thomas, I did a video kind of going after him a little bit, and at the time I had maybe like 40 subscribers or something like that, and I got obliterated in the comments, but that's okay, dude. And I've just been, and I know that there's been other MMA YouTubers that have like poked fun at him comedically and things like that, like talking about the fact that his wife probably has a boyfriend and whatever else, and he glazes Israel Adesanya way too hard and just things like that. But his political stances, and he takes them on the show quite frequently, isolates and just demonizes a large swath of his audience, which I don't know if he just doesn't care or if he's just so out of touch that he doesn't realize that most people that enjoy watching grown men beat each other up are probably not the most progressive bunch, but he does it all the time. And this was extremely apparent during 2020 till like 2022. Okay. And this was when I thought, oh my God, I want somebody to say something about him. And nobody really did. And Jesse on Fire, this is one of the things that actually annoys me about him, is he usually refrains from talking bad about anybody else. Now, I get that that's just like he would argue good business practices, and in many senses, he is probably correct. But, he glazes certain people a little too hard that have given him interviews, such as Bilal Muhammad, saying that Bilal Muhammad has crazy power in his hands and things like that. But, and he's mentioned Luke Thomas before, but he's never really gone after him, especially when Jesse on Fire was so adamant about being against forced, for everybody during the, as I said, 2020 to like 2022 type time period. Whereas Luke Thomas was the absolute opposite. So I thought if there was a time when he was going to do it, it was then. Now that Jesse on Fire is a little bit larger, though, I thought that would have made him refrain even more from doing so. But he went after Luke Thomas, and I am so glad that he did. And I want to give credit where it's due, because there's Ariel Helwani might say bad things about Luke Thomas, but I would imagine that politically, a lot of the things that he's going to criticize him for are not the things that he should be criticized for. And then I'm not even saying that just because you have a different like political leaning than I do that you need to be criticized, but the way that he belittles anybody that thinks differently from him is what I think needs to be criticized. Now, this was all regarding the Sound of Freedom movie or whatever it was. Somebody in his live chat had asked him, what do you think about the UFC becoming so political, having Trump there, and then promoting the Sound of Freedom? But like, first of all, that movie was only made political because there were certain news outlets like CNN, like MSNBC, in Canada we have the CBC, things like that, where they were like actively telling people not to watch it and that it was misinformation and all this stuff. And while it is based on a true story, there are plenty of movies that are based on true stories that change certain aspects for entertainment, right? So it's strange that they would be going after like a Hollywood picture in that way. They made it political. You know what I mean? So the person asking that question, first of all, is probably a little more on Luke Thomas's side already. But then Luke Thomas goes, "Oh, what is that? The QAnon movie?" Or wait, sorry, dude. "Oh, what is that? The QAnon movie?" Because that's what he sounds like all the time, no matter how much fucking Claritin D he takes, okay? And it's like, first of all, no, it's not. You know what I mean? It wasn't. And I haven't even watched the movie because I'm not one to sit down and watch a movie. I don't want to do that, dude. I just don't. You know what I mean? If I want to sit down and watch something like that, I'll rewatch like one of my 4 favorite TV shows because I'm autistic, and that's it. So I don't even know if it's. But you know what it reminds me of, dude? Machine Gun Preacher was based off of a true story. That's a movie with Gerard Butler, for those of you who don't know, and he goes to Africa and he starts freeing people from whatever, dude. Anyways, it was based on a true story. I'm sure that there was things added. I'm sure there were things left out because it's a fucking movie. It's not a documentary, okay? But regardless, and then he just goes on. First of all, dude, having Trump there, Dana White's been Trump's friends with Trump forever. You know what I mean? And who cares what his political leaning is? But this was just what kicked it all off. And then Jesse on Fire really started going at him about, a couple different clips. I think this is well deserved on behalf of Luke Thomas. The smugness and the arrogance that he has when it comes to politics is unbelievable. And he's somebody who served in the military. He is somebody who considers himself to be well educated, because I do believe that he's got a degree at least of some sort. But you would think somebody who served in the U.S. military would not be a progressive cock, but he is. Okay? Now, some critiques Jesse on Fire said I thought were a little... Like, there were things that Jesse on Fire said that I would actually disagree with, or that I would agree with, but then I would go one step further, whereas Jesse on Fire doesn't. Jesse on Fire says, you know what I mean? If I know your opinion on this, and he's talking about the progressive side of things, he says, if I know your opinion on one thing, I immediately know your opinion about, like, these 20 other things. And while that is most of the time true, it applies directly to the opposite side of the spectrum. I strongly believe that politics is a horseshoe theory. You know, or I strongly believe in the horseshoe theory when it comes to politics. Sorry, that was a better way to word it. And for example, fascists and communists are very fucking similar if you actually read their ideologies. You know what I mean? So it is what it is. But if somebody has an opinion that is on the exact opposite spectrum of Luke Thomas, I also know what they think about 20 other things immediately. It is very rare that you have somebody that goes through different policies, like policy by policy, thinks about it, and comes to their own conclusion without it being framed in like the left or right, which I don't even like using anymore. I don't think that those labels are helpful or useful at all, because I think guys like Sneeko have completely fucking ruined it for everybody, because he will go on about leftist ideology and he doesn't know shit about fuck. Okay? Now, I don't even know, I'm just rambling at this point, but I am very glad that Jesse on Fire went after Luke Thomas the way that he did, because he has so many times been overtly political and like just demonizes everybody who disagrees with him. He has shit on Joe Rogan when Joe Rogan was fucking nice enough to have him on his show. You know what I mean? He is one of those people that have tripled, quadrupled, fucking quintupled, sextupled down when it comes to all of the issues pertaining to COVID. And it's annoying, dude. It's annoying. That I've had multiple people who were absolute assholes to me throughout 2020 to 2022 who have came and said, oh, you were right about a few things. And I also hate the straw man. Luke Thomas does this quite frequently. He will act like every single person that did not want that medication to be forced on you also thought that they were like injecting magnets or fucking 5G or whatever. Like, he'll go to the most extreme position and attack that, which drives me crazy, because the vast majority of us just said, I'm young, I'm healthy, look at the data. Okay, in Canada, there was, at the time that they were rolling it out and forcing it on people, about 24,000 people had perished. 75% of them were in nursing homes. Okay, the average age of people that were dying from this certain illness was above the average age of death anyways. And I was in the lowest cohort of like at risk for it, right? And I just thought, you know what, dude? I just want to wait. And then my government started saying that I had to in order to go into places. And I just thought, no. Nope. Now I don't care if it works. You are not going to force me to do something like that. That's just not happening. Like, that's not happening. You know what I mean? That's why I didn't. Luke Thomas will never attack that position. He won't. And by the way, to this day, I still have not contracted that certain illness or spread it to anybody for that matter. Okay? Whereas every single person in my immediate family, or maybe not immediate at this point, right? I've got a wife and 2 kids. So everybody outside of that, like my mother, sister, like all these people, all got it. And then all got the thing that was supposed to stop. You get me? So Jesse on Fire made a lot of good points about how he's ideologically captured, and he just believes everything mainstream media tells him. Now, he would tell you otherwise. He would tell you that he reads studies. He's data-driven. That's what Luke Thomas says. I'm data-driven. There was no data available. So you weren't data-driven, right? I'm just so fucking glad that Jesse on Fire did this, because now that he actually has like 115,000 subscribers, no matter how many of them are bots, it's a big enough channel that it might make a splash. Now, he's not... I would imagine Luke Thomas is never going to respond to anything that Jesse on Fire says, but I'm just glad that he said it, man. He does this all the time. He did this with Andrew Tate, and to be fair, dude, I've remained very neutral on this. First of all, I've never even done a fucking video on him, but I wanted to wait and see what was going to happen. Do you know what I mean? I wanted to wait and see what kind of charges they brought. I wanted to wait and see what kind of evidence they had against him, because I'm not going to go and fucking staunchly defend somebody I don't know because I like some of what he says when I don't know yet. You know what I mean? But Luke Thomas did it in the opposite way, but not defending him, attacking him. And he had streamers, political streamers like Vosh, who has on multiple occasions advocated for the lowering of the age of consent. On multiple, well, he's a full-blown socialist. He has said that there's a genocide of the trans folks and that they should take up arms and blah, 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 blah. Fucking all this stupid shit, dude. And it's like, bro, if that guy's praising you, you're doing something wrong. If Vosh is praising you, you are doing something wrong. And Luke Thomas was featured on Vosh's program, being praised. Vosh saying he's based and all this shit. I bet a bunch of you don't even know who the fuck Vosh is. Okay, but I'm autistic, as I said earlier, and I like to actively watch people that disagree with me because it gives me better arguments. For if I was to get, I love getting in arguments with like in-laws, for instance, and things like that. So if I can listen to people who are touted online as being sophisticated or educated in those certain areas, and then I can come up with arguments against their fucking positions, and I'll have a easy time arguing against my girlfriend's mom, who might have it, maybe not a full extra one, but a half an extra chromosome. Okay, so this is a real ramble. But, dude, I'm just really happy that Jesse on Fire did it, because Luke Thomas gets away with this time and time again. His co-host, Brian Campbell, is too bitch-made to call him out for it. He just kind of sits there and laughs and whatever, and it's just fucking strange, dude. I don't understand how somebody who's such a fan of combat sports, served in the military, and all this shit can be as progressively cocked as Luke Thomas is, okay? It drives me nuts. Now, one thing, or another thing that Jesse on Fire said that I certainly did not agree with was he was taking shots at Brian Campbell for going after Brendan Schaub on a regular basis. He's memeing, dude. It's off Reddit. He was calling him a fucking bully and like all this shit. No, Schaub could fucking beat him up and whatever. It's like, okay, cool, dude. You guys are in your 40s. You're talking about who can beat who up. Schaub's a retard. Point blank, period. I understand that he gave Jesse that fucking big old Flavor Flav chain, YouTube Content Creator of the Year, and blah, 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 blah. But pretty much because Jesse on Fire was probably the only MMA creator that didn't say anything bad about Brendan Schaub, okay? The guy's a clown. It is what it is. I listened to the Fighter and the Kid for years. And he just got to a point, it seemed like, where he was making a lot of money, got to a point where he was extremely arrogant, smug, and also, you know, just not smart enough to be that smug. And you're like, wait, what, bro? You can't even fucking talk. You say both. Heard it both ways, B. Like, people are taking shots at that. It's not real bullying. Jesus Christ, shut the fuck up. Just because Shab wants to cry about it on podcasts doesn't make it fucking bullying. You know what I mean? He talks shit about everybody all day, every day on all of his podcasts. Who cares? It's the internet. Get over it. But I am glad that he went after Luke Thomas, and I think it was well deserved, long time coming. He has horrible, horrible, horrible political opinions. And as I said earlier, if you don't think the same way he does, he demonizes you, he belittles you, he isolates you from his audience. I'm sure he has, at this point, is dealing with a little bit of audience capture, because I think that during 2020 to 2022, there were a lot of people that woke up and realized, oh, this guy's an asshole, right? Because he was probably shitting on a lot of his fan base without even realizing it. And that's about the time I stopped watching him, and then I started realizing other things about him, like how he over intellectualizes everything to make himself sound smarter, which is annoying. You know what I mean? It's like that Vosh guy I was talking about earlier. He does the same thing. There will be a sentence that could be worded with like 7 words, and they'll make it 40 to sound smarter, even though they said the exact same thing as somebody who would have said it with 7 words. And that's what Luke Thomas does. Credit to Jesse on Fire, okay? I don't get to say that often. He takes forever to get to the point, which is part of the reason why I stopped watching a lot of his videos, because I don't want to wait 7 minutes before I hear what I'm actually there, what based on what the thumbnail says, and then you only talk about that for 3 minutes, and then you ramble about some other shit. Or fucking talking about Kratom or whatever else, you know what I mean? I think it's just a personality clash. I'm just not like that Jersey Shore type. That's what Jesse on Fire reminds me of. He reminds me of like a albino Jersey Shore or something, but that's not my style. Clearly, I'm not like well groomed like he is, you know what I mean? But I do, again, want to give him credit for going after Luke Thomas, because he fucking deserved it. And that's about it, dude. Let me know what you guys think of Luke Thomas down in the comments below. Let me know what you guys thought about Jesse on Fire's video if you watched it. Or even let me know what you guys think about Jesse on Fire. Like and subscribe. Greatly appreciate it. See you in the next one. Ta-da for now, dude.